Hello, Los Angeles Dodgers fans. We've got fresh, exclusive videos and the latest updates just for you. Before we dive in, make sure to join our channel and hit that like button. This is the best way to stay on top of all the breaking news. The baseball world has been shaken by a rumor that feels almost too explosive to be real, and yet it keeps gaining traction with every passing hour. At the center of it all is Andrew Friedman, the powerful president of baseball operations for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who is now being linked to a shocking behind-the-scenes declaration involving one of the most respected players in the game today. According to whispers circulating among insiders, Friedman has allegedly made it clear in private conversations that Freeman will never wear a Dodgers uniform again. The idea itself sounds almost surreal, especially when you consider the legacy Freeman has been building, not just with the Dodgers, but across his entire career. Still, rumors like this don't just appear out of nowhere. And when a figure as calculated and influential as Friedman is involved, fans and analysts alike start to wonder what might be unfolding behind closed doors. Freeman is not just any player, and that is what makes this rumor even more difficult to process. A cornerstone first baseman, a consistent performer, and a player whose leadership has been praised repeatedly, Freeman has been a defining presence since arriving in Los Angeles after his long and successful tenure elsewhere. He brought experience, composure, and a championship mentality that aligned perfectly with the Dodgers' ambitions. His contributions have gone far beyond the stat sheet, shaping the culture inside the clubhouse and providing a sense of stability in high-pressure moments. So when a rumor suggests that someone like Friedman would be ready to completely shut the door on a player of that caliber, it naturally raises questions. Is this about performance, personality, or something far more complicated that the public simply does not see? What makes the situation even more intriguing is the timing of these alleged comments. Freeman has been part of multiple championship runs, helping solidify the Dodgers as one of the most dominant teams of this era. His presence during those triumphant moments only deepened his connection with the fan base, making him not just a player, but a symbol of sustained excellence. Yet, rumors often thrive in moments where expectations are highest, and the Dodgers are no strangers to internal recalibration despite their success. Some insiders speculate that tensions may have been quietly building, perhaps over strategic decisions, long-term planning, or even subtle disagreements about the direction of the team. In an organization known for its precision and forward-thinking approach, even the smallest cracks can lead to major shifts. Andrew Friedman, on the other hand, has built a reputation as one of the most analytical and decisive executives in baseball. His track record shows a willingness to make bold moves, even when they appear controversial on the surface. During his time leading operations, he has consistently prioritized long-term sustainability over emotional attachment, often making decisions that initially shock fans, but later prove to be calculated risks. This is why the rumor carries a certain weight, because if there is anyone capable of making such a definitive statement, it would be someone like Friedman. Still, declaring that a player like Freeman would never return seems extreme, even by his standards, which is why many are questioning whether the story has been exaggerated or taken out of context. Inside the clubhouse, the potential implications of such a stance could be massive. Freeman is widely respected among teammates, and his departure under controversial circumstances could ripple through the roster in unexpected ways. Chemistry, trust, and morale are fragile elements in professional sports, and when a leader is suddenly removed from the equation, it often leaves a void that is difficult to fill. Players who have shared the field with Freeman know his value extends far beyond his performance, and losing that presence could alter the dynamic of the team significantly. This is why the rumor is not just about one player or one executive, but about the entire structure of the organization and how decisions at the top can reshape everything below. Fans, of course, are reacting with a mixture of disbelief and concern. Social media has been flooded with speculation, theories, and emotional responses as supporters try to make sense of what this could mean for the future of their team. Some refuse to believe that such a scenario is even possible, pointing to Freeman's achievements and loyalty as reasons why he should remain untouchable. Others, however, Acknowledge that baseball is ultimately a business, and that even the most beloved figures are not immune to difficult decisions. As the rumor continues to spread, the lack of official clarification only adds fuel to the fire, leaving everyone in a state of uncertainty. As the narrative continues to evolve, another layer of intrigue begins to emerge around what might have triggered such a dramatic shift in perspective. Some whispers suggest that internal evaluations may not align with the public perception of Freeman's performance, hinting at deeper analytical metrics that could be influencing the organization's thinking. In a front office led by someone like Friedman, numbers often tell a story that goes beyond traditional statistics, and decisions are rarely made based solely on reputation. If there is even a slight indication that the team's long-term efficiency could be improved by moving on, it would not be surprising for such conversations to take place, even if they remain hidden from public view. There's also the possibility that this rumor is less about performance and more about contractual dynamics. Freeman signed a significant deal when he joined the Dodgers, and as time passes, the financial implications of such agreements can become more complex. Teams constantly evaluate how resources are allocated, especially when balancing the need to remain competitive with the desire to build for the future. If the front office believes that reallocating those resources could strengthen the roster in other areas, it might explain why such a drastic statement has allegedly been made. Still, the idea of completely closing the door on a player of Freeman's stature feels like a move that would require extraordinary justification. Another angle being discussed is the potential for philosophical differences between player and management. Freeman has always been known for his professionalism and dedication, but even the most respected players can have differing views on how a team should operate. Whether it involves training approaches, lineup decisions, or broader organizational strategies, these differences can sometimes create friction that is not immediately visible to the outside world. If such tensions exist, they could contribute to a scenario where both sides begin to see separation as the best path forward, even if it comes as a shock to everyone watching from the outside. Meanwhile, the silence from official sources is becoming increasingly noticeable. Neither Friedman nor Freeman has publicly addressed the rumor, which only deepens the mystery surrounding the situation. In many cases, silence can be interpreted in multiple ways, either as a sign that the story lacks credibility or as an indication that sensitive discussions are indeed taking place behind closed doors. For fans and analysts, this ambiguity is both frustrating and fascinating, as it leaves room for endless speculation about what might be happening within one of baseball's most closely watched organizations. The broader impact on the league cannot be ignored either. If a player like Freeman were to suddenly become unavailable, it would send shockwaves across Major League Baseball, with teams potentially scrambling to position themselves for a chance to acquire his talent. The ripple effect would extend far beyond the Dodgers, influencing trade markets, contract negotiations, and competitive balance. This is why the rumor has captured attention not just locally, but across the entire baseball landscape, as everyone considers the potential consequences of such a dramatic development. At the end of the day, what makes this story so compelling is the combination of credibility and uncertainty. On one hand, it involves respected figures with proven track records, which gives the rumor a sense of legitimacy. On the other hand, the lack of concrete evidence and the extreme nature of the claim leave plenty of room for doubt. As the days pass and more voices weigh in, the narrative will likely continue to shift, revealing new details or perhaps fading away altogether. But for now, the idea that Andrew Friedman could have drawn such a hard line regarding Freddie Freeman remains one of the most captivating and controversial stories circulating in the world of baseball. As this rumor continues to spread like wildfire, another fascinating dimension begins to take shape, one that involves not just decisions made in offices, but the emotional undercurrent surrounding a figure like Freddie Freeman. For years, Freeman has been seen as the embodiment of consistency and professionalism, a player who not only delivers on the field, but also commands deep respect in every clubhouse he enters. The idea that someone in the position of Andrew Friedman could allegedly draw such a definitive line saying there is no path back, introduces a sense of finality that feels almost unprecedented. This is not just about performance metrics or roster construction. This is about identity, legacy, and how quickly narratives can shift in professional sports. Fans who once saw Freeman as a long-term pillar are now being forced to imagine a future where that connection is abruptly severed, and that emotional dissonance is driving even more speculation about what might truly be happening behind the scenes. At the same time, there's a growing belief among insiders that situations like this rarely come down to a single moment or a single decision. Instead, they're often the result of a slow buildup of factors that eventually reach a breaking point. In the case of the Los Angeles Dodgers, an organization known for its meticulous planning and long-term vision, it is entirely possible that discussions about Freeman's role have been evolving quietly over time. Perhaps there were internal debates about how his presence fits into the next phase of the team's strategy, or concerns about how the roster should be reshaped to maintain dominance in an increasingly competitive environment. When viewed through that lens, the rumored statement from Friedman begins to feel less like an impulsive remark and more like the culmination of a broader organizational philosophy that prioritizes future flexibility over past achievements. What complicates matters even further is the public image of unity that the Dodgers have carefully maintained. From the outside, the team appears cohesive, focused, and aligned in its pursuit of excellence. Freeman has often been at the center of that image, representing the kind of player every franchise hopes to build around. If there are indeed fractures beneath that surface, they have been well hidden, which only adds to the shock value of this rumor. The possibility that such a strong partnership could unravel so dramatically forces observers to reconsider how much of what we see is carefully managed perception versus underlying reality. It also raises questions about how other players might be interpreting the situation, especially those who have built strong relationships with Freeman over time. There is also a strategic element that cannot be ignored when analyzing this situation. Baseball, perhaps more than any other sport, is driven by long-term planning and calculated risk-taking. Executives like Friedman are constantly weighing present success against future sustainability, often making decisions that seem harsh in a moment, but are designed to keep the organization competitive for years to come. If the front office believes that moving on from Freeman, even in such a definitive way, could open doors to new opportunities, then the rumored stance begins to fit within that broader pattern of thinking. Still, the language attributed to Friedman, suggesting a permanent end rather than a transition, is what continues to fuel debate and disbelief among fans and analysts alike. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Another layer of intrigue comes from how this rumor might impact Freeman himself, regardless of its accuracy. Even unconfirmed speculation can have real consequences, shaping how a player is perceived both inside and outside the organization. For someone with Freeman's reputation, being at the center of such a dramatic narrative could influence everything from contract discussions to locker room dynamics. It also places him in a difficult position, as responding publicly could either escalate the situation or inadvertently validate parts of the rumor. Remaining silent, on the other hand, leaves the door open for continued speculation, creating a scenario where every move, every gesture, and every performance is scrutinized for hidden meaning. As the story continues to unfold, the role of the media and fan communities becomes increasingly significant. In today's digital landscape, rumors can gain momentum at an incredible pace, often outpacing the ability of those involved to respond or clarify. The narrative surrounding Friedman and Freeman is being shaped not just by what is known, but by what is imagined, interpreted, and amplified across countless platforms. This creates an environment where speculation can feel almost as powerful as fact, blurring the line between reality and rumor. For the Dodgers, managing that narrative becomes an additional challenge, as they must balance transparency with the need to protect internal discussions that are meant to remain private. In the end, What makes this entire situation so captivating is the tension between what seems logical and what feels possible. On one hand, the idea of a team willingly closing the door on a player of Freeman's caliber seems almost unthinkable. On the other hand, the history of professional sports is filled with moments where difficult decisions redefine franchises in unexpected ways. The rumored statement from Andrew Friedman sits at the intersection of those two realities, forcing everyone to confront the unpredictable nature of the game. Whether this story ultimately proves to be an exaggeration, a misunderstanding, or a glimpse into a larger truth, it has already succeeded in capturing the imagination of the baseball world, leaving fans to wonder what might come next in this unfolding drama. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.